Thank you to the organisers of Flame for yet again inviting me. It's always a pleasure to, first of all, see the antitrust warning on your screens at the beginning of the conference as a Director General of Competition. But it's also a very great pleasure for me not to be dealing with impaired assets in banks this morning. And also it's even more of a pleasure for me to disagree with Dieter Helm on a number of points and agree with him on some others. I think just generally speaking on the two things I agree with him is that there's a lot more to do, and there's a lot more to do at European level. Where I disagree with him is that in the face of a number of obstacles, the only thing not to do in Europe is give up. You have to keep pressing on against quite difficult obstacles, but if you don't press on, if you don't argue the case, you end up with, very easily, with national solutions argued simply on the basis that it makes sense for us in our country. That argument has been gathering pace not simply because of some member states in the continent of European Union who have traditionally been reluctant to look towards a European-wide solution, and particularly one based upon competitive markets, but also because a number of other countries have just been skeptical, full stop, about the political impact of passing over sovereignty to other countries. So, in a way, there is a vicious combination at the moment of those who are traditionally politically skeptical, but quite in favor, in fact, of the economic solutions which Europe offers, with those who are economically skeptical, but politically very favorable to the idea of European integration. And in terms of disagreeing with Dieter about taking a long game and a long view with determination rather than a short one, I also say we have to be pretty realistic about where we're coming from. In terms of energy markets, we're not coming from a situation where there were 27 national competitive markets with obstacles between those markets. We're coming from a situation where most countries have been through a process of liberalization from public monopoly to private operations, and some persistent incumbent private monopolies. Secondly, a lot of the countries which recently joined the European Union have vertically integrated public monopolies based on supplies of energy which are extremely dependent on certain types of energy and extremely dependent on certain suppliers. Thirdly, you can create regulation and you can apply the competition law, but you've still got to get people to invest. And investment depends upon the right market signals being there for people to do it. And in that sense, our view, and I'll come on to that in the way in which we're looking at the energy markets now, is that because those incentives have not been there, because the first and second liberalization packages didn't deliver the right context for them, it was inevitable that there would be no significant investment, for example, in interconnection capacity, and no significant penetration of each other's markets through new entrants. Now, why do we think that the European Union should have an energy policy based upon competitive and open energy markets? Because we believe that that is, in principle, the best way or the least worst way to deliver energy supplies at the right cost with the right diversification to businesses and to citizens. And a diversified energy market, diversified sources of supply, is also a very big and positive response to the natural reaction at a political level in all our countries that energy supplies is one of the fundamental things which people want to be secure about. If there's one political message which our own heads of state use all the time, it is precisely that we must have a national energy policy because we need to secure our supplies. But securing those supplies cannot really be successful, in the Commission's view, unless we have a much more integrated, open market based upon diversified sources of supplies. And I have to say that whether a pipeline goes through one member state or not doesn't really matter. What really matters is whether there's a diversified source of supply from many sources across Europe, and where traders and suppliers can deliver whatever source of supply delivers where they want to in an open and competitive way. And I think that the recent disputes at our borders only highlight the need for that further integration of an internal energy market, providing a choice of suppliers. Now, we shared a lot of what, in the competition area, a lot of what Dieter has referred to as some of the obstacles in the market when we launched a sector inquiry, as you remember, when I came here 2 years ago. And we finally, through that survey, confirmed a number of things which most of you would regard as pretty obvious, that we've got fragmented national markets with dominant incumbents who often own both supply and transmission businesses. And vertically integrated companies, as a general rule, have no incentive to invest in interconnection capacity and network capacity, since while it might benefit themselves as well, it would also benefit their own competitors. As a result, market entry is low. And furthermore, current rules on access to incumbents' networks were, in our view, inadequate.